Good morning, class. We are now in the tentative final period of this semester, and our first lesson in this period is about traditional training method. And our reference in this study is the book Training and Development by Dr. Marivic F. Flores, Professor Angelita Ong Camilar Serrano, and Professor Rodolfo La Paz Ducot. I will now start the discussion, and please listen carefully, listen attentively for your own benefit. In our time, there are so many formulated training approaches, and each training approach has pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. Sometimes it's confusing what training approach to use or when a training approach should be used. But the traditional training method, even though many say that it is already outdated, many companies still do not want to change or eliminate this approach because they have already tested and proven how effective it is. There is a statement from our reference book, quote, "In the traditional approach, the training staff designs the objectives, contents, teaching techniques, assignments, lesson plans, motivation, test, and evaluation. The focus in this model is intervention by the training staff. In this method, the training staff will go through a thorough and intensive study of the training needs of the employees. And then they will design a training that is suitable for the learning preference of the employees. Through this procedure, the training staff can be sure that the result of the training will be effective. In the traditional method, the training staff is familiar with the four types of learners in order for them to design different learning strategies to accomplish the goal of the training. These are the four types of learners. Number one, visual learners. Number two, auditory learners. Number three, reading or writing preference learners. And number four is the kinesthetic learners. I will not explain these four things, but if you want to have a deeper knowledge about these four things, there are many articles on Google about types of learners or about learning preferences of trainees. In the traditional training method, the instructor-led classroom instruction technique is still one of the most popular. With this technique, different types or different styles can be used to benefit all trainees with different learning preferences. The use of the blackboard or whiteboard in the lecture will benefit the writing reading preference learners. The use of a projector, PowerPoint presentation, and video clips will benefit visual learners. The use of discussion and storytelling will benefit auditory learners. And by creating different activities, kinesthetic learners will benefit. As I have said earlier, that according to our reference book, instructor led classroom instruction has advantages and disadvantages. Here are the five advantages of instructor led training. Number one, it is an efficient method for discussing a large body of material for either large or small groups of employees. Number two, it is a personal, face to face type of learning as opposed to computer based training. Number three, it guarantees that each person gets similar information at the same time. Number four, it is cost effective, especially when guest speakers are not outsourced. Number five, storytelling captures people's interest. Here are the three disadvantages of instructor led training. Number one, at times it is not interactive. Number two, the success of the training depends much on the effectiveness of the lecturer. Number three, the arrangement classroom sessions for large numbers of trainees can be complex, particularly when trainees are at different locations. Lectures can be effectively utilized by making sure the audience is engaged throughout the session. And here are the tips from our reference book to effectively utilize lectures. Number one, train trainers in the art and science of public speaking. Number two, give trainers the materials they need. Number three, use with interactive methods. The audio visuals must be used when the trainees need to learn a skill, especially when the nature of their work is risky. To learn well, they need to hear and see the lesson material over and over again. Sometimes they also need to watch the video material in slow motion. That would be easy to do when the material is audio visual. When trainees need an ocular tour of the main factory of a company, but it is too expensive because it may be in another country, Or maybe the trainees cannot go to the actual operation because there might be contamination or because privacy is needed. In such a situation, audiovisual is very effective. Simply having the trainees watch the actual video of the factory is very effective. Here are some advantages of audiovisuals from our reference book. Number one, trainer can review, slow down, or speed up lesson, which allows flexibility in customizing the training session based on the expertise of trainees. Number two, trainees can be exposed to equipment, problems, and events that cannot be simply shown, like equipment malfunction, angry customers, or cases of emergencies. Number three, trainees get constant instruction. Program content is not affected by the interests and goals of a specific trainer. Number four, videotaping trainees permit them to see and hear their own performances with no interpretation coming from the trainer. Note, most problems with video, this is from the reference book, most problems with video comes from the creative approach used, like too much content for the trainee to absorb, poor dialogue between the actors which hinders the credibility and clarity of the message, overuse of humor, music, or drama which makes it confusing for the trainee to comprehend the important point being given highlight in the video. In traditional training method, the most common method is on-the-job training, or the so-called OJT, where the highly skilled and experienced employees will train the less skilled. This method applies the one-on-one job instruction technique. Apprenticeships, coaching, and mentoring. In job instruction training, the trainer should have a written breakdown of the job to know what next level the trainees will be taken to, and in order to generate a helpful feedback. The four activities here are tell, show, demonstrate, and explain. The key point of apprenticeship training is like passing the baton to the next runner. The trainer must pass on the skills, his or her skills, on the trainee. Sometimes it can be done easily and quickly. Sometimes it is difficult and time consuming, depending on the learning capacity of the trainees. Concerning coaching, sometimes it is used for employees with low performance ratings. Sometimes it is used for further improvement of employees. These are the coaching process. Number one, know the following: trainees' job, trainees' KSA, or the knowledge, skills, and abilities. Trainees' existing level of performance and the resources needed to meet performance expectations. Number two, meet with the trainee and equally consent on the performance objectives to be accomplished. Number three, jointly turn up at a plan/schedule for attaining the performance objectives. Number four, at the work site, demonstrate to the trainee how to attain the objectives. Then watch the trainee's performance and give feedback. Number four, do again step 4 in anticipation of performance improvement. Mentoring is a little deeper than coaching because it involves the close relationship between trainer and trainee so that the trainer can be more effective in giving guidance. In this technique, the trainee must feel the sacrifice, concern, and care of the trainer so that the trainee will follow and obey the guidance out of respect, not just out of responsibility. There are 3 more methods that are used in the traditional training method, but I will no longer explain those 3. These are simulated training, case studies, and business games, which is often done in what is called team building. But games are related to business operations. To conclude this study, we have finished another very important lesson about training and development. And in order for me to assess if you have internalized this lesson, you must take the quiz